There are times when life pauses just long enough for you to notice something strange. The same sequence of numbers glowing on the clock, a dream that feels heavier than sleep, a stranger's words that echo the very thought you held in silence. These moments break the monotony of ordinary existence, and for a heartbeat, you feel the invisible pulse of the universe. What if those experiences aren't coincidences at all? What if they are the universe's way of speaking in a language that only your awareness can translate? From the first heartbeat you ever felt, your life has been in dialogue with energy, vibrations, frequencies, emotions, all forming a pattern that the universe reflects back to you. When your energy changes, your outer world rearranges. Numbers appear as signals of attention. Dreams open doorways to truths your waking mind can't yet process. Unexpected encounters become mirrors, guiding you toward hidden parts of your path. The universe doesn't speak with words. It communicates through resonance, rhythm, and timing. Everything it says is encoded in what you feel, what you notice, and what you choose to follow. This exploration isn't about superstition, it's about presence. When you learn to slow down and feel the space between moments, you begin to sense how guidance moves through your life. You realize that the same intelligence that orchestrates galaxies also breathes within your daily routine. The universe is never silent. It whispers through alignment, repetition, and intuition. In this journey, you will discover how to understand those whispers. You will learn how to interpret the sacred codes hidden in numbers, how to read your dreams as messages from your higher consciousness, and how to recognize encounters that are far more than random. By the end, you'll no longer doubt the signs around you. You'll know that you are part of the vast conversation that the universe has been having with you all along. There is a subtle rhythm woven into the fabric of existence, a current of intelligence that speaks to every living being. Most people overlook it because they are too entangled in noise, deadlines, and the pursuit of certainty. Yet when life slows down, when awareness sharpens for a brief instant, you begin to notice signs that seem to appear out of nowhere, repeating numbers on the clock, the same sequence appearing on receipts or license plates, dreams that mirror your emotions with uncanny accuracy, or unexpected meetings that alter your course. At first, these seem meaningless, mere coincidences that the rational mind quickly dismisses. But when they repeat, a quiet curiosity begins to rise. Is something or someone trying to reach me? Numbers are among the universe's most accessible forms of language. They are symbols that exist beyond culture or translation. When you repeatedly see patterns like 1111 or 222, it is not the number itself that holds power, but the moment in which it appears. The universe uses such repetition to draw your attention inward, asking you to pause and observe what you are feeling or thinking right then. In that instant, reality mirrors your vibration. It is as if the external world becomes a screen reflecting your internal frequency. By noticing without obsession, by observing instead of chasing the pattern, you open the possibility of dialogue. The key is awareness without attachment, receptivity without dependency. Dreams, on the other hand, represent the most intimate dimension of this communication. They emerge from a realm where the conscious mind has surrendered control. When you sleep, the filters that separate logic from intuition dissolve, and what is hidden in daylight surfaces in symbolic form. The language of dreams is not literal, it is emotional. Each image, color, and texture holds a vibration tied to your lived experiences. A flooded house may not predict disaster, but might represent an emotional overflow you've been ignoring. A flight through the sky could symbolize the part of you longing for release from restriction. The more you honor these images, without rushing to interpret them through books or general meanings, the more your subconscious begins to trust you as a listener. That trust transforms your dreams into a private dialogue with the universe, an inner classroom where lessons arrive disguised as stories. Encounters that seem accidental are another dialect of this same universal conversation. Perhaps you bump into an old acquaintance precisely when you need guidance, or you hear a stranger say something that answers a silent question you asked that morning. To the unaware, these are coincidences. To the conscious, they are alignments, evidence that energy precedes form. When your emotional and mental frequencies align with your intentions, you attract experiences that match your state. It is not magic, but resonance. Just as a tuning fork vibrates in harmony with another of the same note, your energy field calls forth reflections that confirm your internal tone. These meetings become markers on your path, reminding you that you are being guided not by luck, but by coherence. Still, discernment is essential. Not every repetition, dream, or meeting is a message. Some are simply the byproducts of a focused mind seeking meaning. The human brain is wired to find patterns. It's a mechanism of survival. But when observation becomes obsession, you begin projecting meaning rather than receiving it. The difference lies in how it feels. True communication from the universe carries peace, clarity, and a sense of calm certainty. False interpretation breeds anxiety, urgency, and confusion. When guidance is real, it simplifies. When it's imagined, it complicates. To stay aligned, you must return to stillness, to the quiet center where intuition lives, where your energy and the universe meet in a shared silence. Scientific language often calls this state coherence. Spiritual language calls it presence. Both point to the same phenomenon, the synchronization between the electromagnetic rhythm of the heart, the thought patterns of the brain, and the pulse of the universe. When these systems resonate, perception expands. You begin to notice what was always there but hidden beneath distraction. It is in this expanded perception that the universe speaks most clearly. The signs were never outside of you. They were inside, reflected outward, so that you could finally recognize yourself in them. To live in dialogue with the universe is not to depend on signs for validation, but to cultivate a sensitivity to energy itself. When you learn to interpret the language of numbers without superstition, to walk through dreams without fear, and to engage with encounters without overanalyzing, life becomes a continuous unfolding of meaning. Every breath, every silence, every glance exchanged becomes part of a greater orchestration guiding you toward awareness. The universe does not shout, it whispers. Its voice moves through the ordinary, through the rhythm of daily moments, waiting for you to listen beyond noise. In truth, there are no coincidences, only correspondences. Everything you attract is drawn by resonance, shaped by the invisible dialogue between what you think, what you feel, and what you truly believe you deserve. The more you align those three dimensions, the more fluently you begin to speak the language of existence itself. This is not about learning new symbols. It is about remembering a communication that has always been alive within you. When you open to it fully, you realize that the universe has never stopped speaking. It has simply been waiting for you to quiet down enough to hear its voice. Every human being carries an invisible thread that connects them to the intelligence of the universe. Yet for most of life, this connection lies dormant beneath layers of noise, doubt, and distraction. The modern world teaches people to rely on logic, measurement, and external validation, while the language of the universe requires silence, receptivity, and presence. This second chapter deepens our exploration into that connection, the space where energy turns into guidance, where subtle vibrations translate into patterns that seem perfectly timed, and where inner alignment becomes outer manifestation. Numbers are one of the universe's simplest yet most profound ways to reveal alignment. Imagine them as vibrations dressed in visible form, mathematical harmonies that echo the structure of creation itself. When the same sequences appear repeatedly, like 111, 222, or 555, they are not random codes demanding interpretation, but reminders that reality is an interactive field responding to awareness. The repetition is not the message. Your attention to it is. Each time you notice these patterns, the universe is essentially saying, you are in sync with the rhythm of what you have been feeling. The power lies not in the digits, but in the state of consciousness they awaken within you. When you meet them with gratitude instead of curiosity, their meaning unfolds naturally through events that follow, like ripples from a stone cast into still water. Dreams, however, move beyond numerical clarity into the poetic dimension of the soul. They are the language of the subconscious, the bridge between unseen and seen, divine and human. A dream rarely speaks in direct sentences. It paints metaphors that bypass the mind and speak straight to emotion. For instance, falling in a dream does not foretell failure. It reflects the fear of surrendering control. Water does not predict floods. It mirrors emotion seeking release. The universe uses dreams as an internal cinema where unresolved energies find movement, where the fragments of daily life reassemble into meaning. When you honor this space without judgment, You begin to notice that your dreams often respond to questions your waking self never dares to ask aloud. They offer not instruction, but insight, a deeper form of knowing that blooms when logic rests. Encounters that appear random belong to the third dialect of this universal conversation. These are not mere social accidents, they are alignments orchestrated by resonance. Every person you meet reflects an aspect of your vibration, some to affirm, some to challenge, and others to awaken dormant potential. The friend who arrives during hardship may embody the comfort you have forgotten to give yourself. The stranger who provokes discomfort might mirror a truth you have avoided. The universe arranges such meetings not as tests, but as invitations to heal, to grow, to release resistance. Coincidence, in its truest form, is the choreography of meaning. It reveals that life is not happening to you, but through you. The pattern that connects numbers, dreams, and encounters is coherence. When your inner frequency, the combination of emotion, thought, and intention, stabilizes, the outer world mirrors that stability. Events begin to align with precision that logic alone cannot explain. This is not fate dictating outcomes, it is energy creating correspondence. You attract what you are ready to recognize. The more balanced your internal state, the clearer the guidance becomes. A peaceful mind perceives with accuracy. An anxious one distorts perception and calls it proof. Thus, alignment with the universe begins with alignment within yourself. But such awareness demands humility. The universe does not conform to human timelines or desires. It speaks in rhythm, not urgency. If a sign does not make sense immediately, it is not because guidance has vanished, it is because the meaning is still forming. Often the wisdom of an event becomes visible only in hindsight when distance reveals its geometry. To walk with the universe is to accept mystery without surrendering discernment. It is to remain curious but grounded, open but centered. You become both student and participant in the art of co-creation. Over time, as you develop sensitivity to this dialogue, the boundary between internal and external begins to dissolve. You realize that dreams are extensions of consciousness, numbers are reflections of focus, and meetings are intersections of energy fields. Nothing stands apart, everything speaks. The challenge is not to interpret every event, but to live with awareness sharp enough to feel their interconnectedness. The universe does not need translation, it needs trust. To embody this trust is to live poetically, even within ordinary circumstances. It is to walk through the world knowing that each moment holds a layer of communication waiting to be perceived. When you see 3:33 on a passing sign, when you wake from a dream that lingers like a fragrance, when you meet someone whose words echo the truth you feared to voice, recognize it as part of the same current guiding you back to wholeness. This is how the universe reminds you that you are never wandering aimlessly. Every signal is a return to alignment, every synchronicity a confirmation that consciousness and creation are, in essence, one continuous breath. Living this way does not detach you from the world, it anchors you deeper into it. You begin to make choices not from fear, but from resonance. You learn to respond instead of react, to create instead of chase. The outer world ceases to be a battlefield of control and becomes a landscape of communication. You are no longer a spectator of coincidence, you are a co-author of meaning. In the end, the greatest revelation is not that the universe speaks, but that it has always been speaking through you. Numbers, dreams, and encounters are reflections of your evolving dialogue with the infinite. When you stop seeking proof and start embodying awareness, communication flows effortlessly. Reality becomes a mirror of your consciousness, a language of light, emotion, and rhythm that has only one intention: to remind you that you and the universe were never separate. At some point in your journey, you begin to sense that every movement in your life, every pause, every repetition, every meeting, is part of a hidden choreography. The deeper you look, the more you realize that nothing is isolated. Every experience is linked by invisible threads of energy that connect intention to manifestation. What appears to be chance is often the echo of a deeper order, a rhythm so vast that only silence can hold its pattern. This chapter explores how alignment unfolds through the living dialogue between your energy and the universe, and how synchronicities reveal the structure of meaning beneath ordinary events. The first step in perceiving synchronicity is the refinement of awareness. Most people move through life in reaction, interpreting events through fear or habit. When perception is clouded by emotion, guidance becomes distorted. But when you cultivate stillness, you begin to sense subtle currents beneath external noise. In this state, you notice timing, the way certain people arrive when clarity is needed, the way opportunities appear after long periods of stagnation, the way patterns converge precisely when you stop forcing outcomes. These convergences are not accidental. They are manifestations of coherence between your inner and outer worlds. The universe speaks in rhythm, and timing is its most eloquent form of language. Numbers often announce this rhythm first. They serve as anchors that draw attention back to the present moment. The moment you recognize a repeating pattern, you momentarily interrupt the inertia of distraction. That single instant of awareness is enough to shift your vibration. The number sequence becomes less about its arithmetic meaning and more about the consciousness it awakens in you. In that awareness, you remember that everything vibrates with intention, and that perception itself is participation. You are not a spectator to life. You are a co-creator, observing your own frequency mirrored back. Dreams complement this process by revealing what cannot yet be seen in daylight. While waking life reflects your conscious vibration, dreams unveil the undercurrents of emotion that shape your energy field. They disclose where you are aligned and where you are divided. For instance, a recurring dream of being chased may not speak of fear in the physical world, but of resistance to transformation. Dreams reveal how your energy negotiates between the past you cling to and the future you are calling in. They show how the universe moves within you before it manifests around you. By reflecting on dreams with openness rather than interpretation, you allow symbols to become fluid bridges between worlds, the world of the seen and the world of the becoming. Encounters that feel guided are the third expression of this dialogue. They occur when your inner field resonates at a frequency that calls forth the precise people and circumstances capable of advancing your growth. Sometimes this appears as help. Other times it appears as challenge. Both are forms of guidance. The friend who comforts you and the stranger who confronts you both serve as reflections, activating aspects of consciousness that were dormant. The universe uses people as mirrors, not rewards or punishments. Each meeting invites you to refine your vibration, to choose authenticity over reaction and presence over defense. This is why the concept of resonance is so essential. Resonance is the meeting point between frequencies that harmonize. When your emotions, intentions, and actions vibrate coherently, life aligns in graceful precision. You may begin to experience a sense of being carried by an unseen current, as if effort has transformed into flow. The path does not necessarily become easier, but it becomes clearer. Obstacles still appear, but they no longer feel random. They feel instructional, purposeful. You begin to perceive that resistance itself is communication, a signal that energy needs redirection rather than struggle. Many traditions describe this awareness as living in harmony with divine timing. It is the understanding that you cannot manipulate the universe into revealing more than you are ready to receive. Patience becomes an act of faith, and faith becomes an act of alignment. When you release urgency, synchronicities multiply. The less you chase signs, the more naturally they arrive. This paradox exists because the universe responds not to desire, but to vibration. Desire often carries the frequency of lack. Alignment carries the frequency of fulfillment. When you rest in trust, your energy communicates fluently, and the universe mirrors that serenity with precision. Over time, this dialogue transforms your perception of reality itself. You stop dividing experiences into good or bad, and start seeing them as messages with different tones. Joy becomes affirmation, challenge becomes redirection. Each number you notice, each dream you recall, each person who crosses your path participates in this sacred choreography of awareness. The world ceases to be a random sequence of events and reveals itself as a living field of correspondence. This awareness does not make life predictable, it makes it meaningful. Understanding the language of the universe is not about deciphering codes, but embodying presence. When you live from presence, every detail becomes sacred. You begin to feel the still pulse beneath movement, the silence beneath sound, the intelligence guiding even your smallest choices. You no longer look for answers outside yourself because you recognize that the same consciousness that moves stars through galaxies breathes through your own chest. The universe speaks not in foreign symbols, but through your willingness to listen deeply. The greatest realization is that synchronicity is not a gift reserved for the chosen. It is the natural state of awareness when separation dissolves. Every soul has the ability to perceive and participate in this dialogue. The moment you decide to see life as communication, you begin to remember your role within creation's design. Coincidence turns into confirmation, and uncertainty transforms into trust. You understand that each sign, dream, and meeting was never meant to direct your life. They were meant to remind you that you are already part of the infinite conversation unfolding across all things. Every soul is born into a symphony of unseen patterns, a living field of consciousness, where energy and intention move together like melody and rhythm. Yet most people forget this harmony as they grow, taught to trust only what can be measured or proven. They begin to perceive separation where there is only connection, randomness where there is design. But the universe has never stopped speaking. Its language flows through numbers, dreams, and encounters that seem accidental, yet arrive with perfect precision. When awareness expands, what once felt chaotic begins to reveal order, a deep orchestration of purpose and timing. At its core, communication with the universe is not about deciphering mysteries, but about remembering alignment. Numbers often act as the first bridge to this remembrance because they are both mathematical and mystical. The human mind recognizes numbers instinctively. Their repetition pierces through distraction. When you keep seeing 1111 or other mirrored sequences, the universe is not trying to impress or mystify you. It is gently returning your focus to presence, reminding you that you are participating in the creation of every moment. Numbers awaken mindfulness. They signal coherence between your inner thought patterns and the external field of energy that reflects them. When your internal dialogue matches your soul's rhythm, the world echoes back in harmony. Dreams, meanwhile, open a more intimate doorway into this universal conversation. In the landscape of dreams, the conscious mind relaxes its grip, and the soul speaks in metaphor. The symbols that emerge are not puzzles to be solved, but energies to be felt. A dream of flight might not be about escape. It could be the soul rehearsing freedom. A dream of drowning might not be about fear. It could be an invitation to surrender control and trust emotional depth. The universe uses the language of dreams because it bypasses resistance. It whispers truth in a form that the rational mind cannot immediately dismiss. When you approach your dreams with humility and curiosity, you begin to perceive them as dialogues between your finite awareness and the infinite intelligence that guides it. Encounters that feel too precise to be random represent the third strand of this language. The person who appears just when you need guidance, the unexpected opportunity that aligns with your hidden desire, even the challenge that forces you to grow, all are manifestations of resonance. The universe does not send people or events to punish or reward. It arranges them as reflections of vibration. When you carry frequencies of openness, courage, and gratitude, you naturally intersect with experiences that sustain those states. The so-called coincidences are mirrors showing you what energy you are embodying. You do not attract by wishing, you attract by becoming. The process of becoming aligned requires stillness, yet stillness is not passivity. It is the state where intention, emotion, and action exist in harmony. In this coherence, communication flows effortlessly. You do not have to search for meaning. Meaning arises spontaneously. Life begins to unfold like a conversation that never ends, one where every event, from the smallest detail to the most dramatic turning point, fits within the logic of your soul's growth. The universe's messages cease to be extraordinary. They become ordinary, part of the natural rhythm of your existence. This awareness transforms how you experience uncertainty. Instead of fearing silence, you begin to understand that silence itself is speech, the pause between notes in the melody of guidance. There are times when numbers stop appearing, when dreams become vague, when encounters feel empty. These moments are not signs of abandonment. They are seasons of integration. The universe does not repeat what you have already learned. It waits until your vibration evolves enough to receive the next layer of instruction. Patience then becomes an act of alignment, a declaration that you trust the rhythm even when you cannot hear the full song. Many seekers make the mistake of looking outward for proof of connection, expecting miracles to confirm their worthiness. But the true evidence of divine communication is internal. It is the quiet certainty that arises without external validation. You begin to feel guided, not because of what happens around you, but because of how peace settles within you. This peace is not the absence of challenge, it is the presence of understanding. It whispers, everything is unfolding as it must. When you embody this frequency, life stops being a sequence of random outcomes and becomes a coherent expression of your inner state. This realization brings a profound sense of responsibility. If reality mirrors vibration, then every thought, every word, and every emotion contributes to the pattern of your world. Awareness is creation. You are both the receiver and the transmitter in this grand dialogue. Numbers, dreams, and encounters are the universe's response to the energy you emit. When your thoughts are anchored in gratitude, your emotions harmonize with faith, and your actions align with integrity, communication becomes instantaneous. You speak to the universe in the language of frequency, and it answers in the language of experience. Ultimately, the purpose of these signs is not to predict the future or to satisfy curiosity, but to awaken consciousness. They are reminders that life is alive, that every breath carries intelligence, and that you are an essential note in the symphony of creation. To live with this awareness is to walk gently, to listen deeply, to recognize that the same intelligence guiding stars through galaxies also orchestrates your next step. When you learn to see the sacred within the ordinary, coincidence dissolves and only connection remains. In the end, communication with the universe is not a skill to master, but a relationship to remember. The numbers that catch your eye, the dreams that stir your heart, the encounters that move your path, all are the universe's way of saying, you are not alone. You are part of everything. When you breathe with this knowing, every moment becomes revelation and every experience becomes dialogue. The universe has always been speaking. It was your awareness that finally learned how to listen. As you reach the end of this journey, one truth begins to crystallize. The universe has never been silent. Every number, every dream, every encounter you have ever experienced was part of a vast and intelligent design, woven through time to remind you of your connection to something infinite. What once seemed random now glows with meaning. Each repetition, each pattern, each face that crossed your path carried a message of coherence, a mirror reflecting your inner state back to you with precision and grace. The language of the universe is not learned through logic, but remembered through presence. In the moments when you slow down enough to notice, you begin to feel how reality breathes with you. Awareness becomes a bridge, joining the visible and the invisible. You start to understand that communication from the universe is not about instruction but resonance. It responds to your energy, not your words. Numbers remind you to pause, dreams invite you to listen inwardly, and encounters help you embody what you've learned. The universe speaks through experience because experience transforms awareness. As your perception deepens, you stop searching for signs and start recognizing that you are one. You are not a passive observer of life's mysteries. You are an active participant in the ongoing creation of meaning. Every breath you take contributes to the frequency that shapes your world. The universe does not separate itself from you, it expresses itself through you. Its messages are not distant whispers, but living vibrations unfolding through your emotions, intuition, and choices. In this understanding, coincidence dissolves, replaced by connection. What you once called luck becomes alignment. What you called confusion becomes direction. The universe is speaking always, and now you have learned how to listen. Before you leave this moment, take a deep breath and ask yourself one powerful question. If the universe is always speaking to me, am I truly listening? That question has the power to shift everything. Every sign, every dream, every encounter holds the potential to change the way you see your life. The conversation between you and the universe never ends. It only grows clearer when you open your awareness. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and join a community of souls awakening to their own divine dialogue with the universe. Stay connected, keep your awareness alive, and continue this journey of discovery. There's more waiting for you in the next video on your screen. The signs will keep speaking. Will you keep listening?